Accept. Okay, done. Right. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 47, verses 1 and 2. We'll do the Sanskrit of the next verse. And for 1 and 2, we'll just do the translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami said, the young women of Raja became astonished upon seeing Lord Krishna's servant, who had long arms, whose eyes resembled a newly grown lotus, who wore a yellow garment and a lotus garland, and whose lotus-like face glowed with brightly polished earrings. Who is this handsome man? The gopis asked. Where has he come from? And whom does he serve? Nice question. He is wearing Krishna's clothes and ornaments. Saying this, the gopis eagerly crowded around Uddhava, whose shelter was the lotus feet of Lord Uttamashloka, Sri Krishna. Next verse, number 3. I'll do my best with the Sanskrit. Tam prashyena vanata susatkritam savrida has keshana sunrita dibhi rahasya prichan upavistamasane vijnana sandesha aram ramapate. Translation. Bowing their heads in humility, the gopis duly honored Uddhava with their shy, smiling glances and pleasing words. They took him to a quiet place, seated him comfortably, and began to question him, for they recognized him to be a messenger from Krishna, the master of the goddess Fortune. Purport. The chaste gopis were enlivened to see that a messenger had come from Krishna. As Uddhava will discover during his stay in Vrindavan, the unique gopis could not think of anything but their beloved Krishna. Jai, Srila Prabhupada. Stop sharing. I'm stopping sharing. Okay, let's see if Dale. Is Dale over here? By the way, did you see him? No. Okay, so we'll do a community class. Everybody will get a chance to speak and glorify Krishna and reflect on what we just read. Krishnadaya Prabhu, would you like to do the invocation? Thank you.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Thank you, Prabhu. So, I was thinking while reading the verses 1 and 2, there's one line that stood out to me. Who does he serve? That's the devotee's thinking. So that's the question a devotee should ask themselves. Who am I trying to please here? Am I trying to please my senses and my urges, or my anxieties, my fears? Am I trying to give my attention to the news outlets, or the movie industry, or any other distracting industry that is breaking our remembrance of Krishna? Or I'm trying to please my spiritual master. I'm trying to please the devotees around me with this. So who am I trying to please? It's a nice question that we can ask ourselves when we are in the middle of a decision making process, or we're facing a difficulty or a dilemma. It's a nice question. Who am I trying to please with my actions, with my choices? Right, Krishnadai Prabhu? Do you ask that question often? Or you've got that figured out and everything you do is aimed at pleasing Krishna?
No, I'm very clear that I'm not serving Krishna. So I, I try to work on it, but I'm clear. No need of asking that question.
Krishnadai Prabhu is speaking in humility. Do you have any realizations or reflections on the verses, Krishnadai Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu. Taking blessings of Adipurush Prabhu and other devotees. I thought of like 3 points which really struck me in this from these 3 verses. So first thing, what you said in similar lines, whom are we serving? This sort of identification or connecting with Krishna, seeing everything. This is the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness. Whatever we see, immediately we connect to Krishna. Like all of a sudden, a stranger is coming, and then immediately Gopis connected him to Krishna, just seeing his clothes, his ornaments. So they openly said, he is wearing Krishna's clothes. Just he came in those yellow garments. It's not that he borrowed from Krishna, I'm not sure. But they said, oh, you are wearing Krishna's clothes. Somebody's coming, he's wearing Krishna's clothes. So they immediately, they're in so much remembrance of Krishna. Somebody they're seeing yellow, then they're thinking that, okay, this is Krishna's clothes. That sort of, like we see every day around us so many things, and then immediately whatever is connected to Krishna we see, and then we remember Krishna. So that is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. That's how we can always stay connected to Krishna. In our parampara also, there is one Acharya. So he's a great exalted devotee, and then he is accused of um, doing some sort of exhibition, like that. So the king called him to inquire whether he's really a spiritually advanced person, or he is just a imitation person. So he came to the king's court, and then he saw somebody fanning the king with a peacock fan. And then seeing that, he remembered the peacock and peacock feathers, and then he remembered Krishna, and then he went into the ecstasy and he fainted. So then the king understood that, okay, he's really an exalted person. So that's how, like around the world we see so many things every day, and then if you can connect things to Krishna, just like what gopis are doing, that is the perfection. So there is no point of forgetting Krishna. So that's the first thing what I felt. And the second point is, whom are we serving? So at the conclusion, it is the exact Sanskrit I forgot. Uttama shloka padambujashraya. So the greatness of Uddhava is again, So Uddhava, who is Uddhava? He is the one who took shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So the greatness, all these things come because if we take, unconditional shelter of Lord Krishna, so then all the good qualities manifest. The people are considering him as good as Krishna because the reason is given there. So nicely the Sanskrit describes in the meaning. So Lord is called Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka means one who is glorified with the best of poetry, like Adipurush Prabhu sings, and then Damodar Priya Devi, she writes best poetry. So like, who is worthy of all this best poetry is Lord Shri Krishna. So he's called Uttama Shloka, one who is glorified by the best poetry. And who is the best devotee? Who is the best person? One who takes shelter of that best, person who is glorified with best poetry. Padambuja Uttama Shloka Ashraya. So that's the greatness of Uddhava. This is the greatness of the gopis. And then the next verse is so nicely described how these great devotees deal with each other. So they saw he came, and it's so personal, It's not okay, Krishna, he must be like something like Krishna. No, go immediately ask him questions. No. First of all, they brought him to a side, made him sit comfortably. So these are some etiquettes. Recently, she is Vrajlila Devi. She is giving the class. She nicely told etiquettes are very important. When spiritually elevated people come to our center or our place, we should treat them very nicely. And then Vaishnava etiquettes, these are very important. So we see gopis here. They made Uddhava seat comfortably. So Bhagavatam is giving these details. This is very important, how we also need to treat each other with nice etiquettes. So Anand Bihari Prabhu is telling that somebody will take care of us. So this is what is taking care. Somebody is very perplexed mentally, emotionally. First, the least thing we can do is give a smile and then make him sit comfortably. So then he will be happy. So they made him sit comfortably and asked questions in a very secretive way. So that's what is a chaste person, like a chaste follower. So we don't ask very openly. We don't express our emotions very openly, in a very secretive way. So yeah, sorry. These are some points which I
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. It's very wonderful and very deep. Yeah, the devotee was consoling me next to the bathroom. So does that count as a private place? He was consoling me privately right by the bathroom door. Bhakti Devi has her hand up.
Hare Krishna, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Over the weekend, I think it was Friday night, I was watching Jesus of Nazareth, which is a mini series that they did, I think, in the 70s or something. I think it was the 70s. And it's a great story. It's a great series. But one of my favorite parts is watching the Sahadrin, which I guess are the equivalent of the Brahmin of the Jews at this time, having a discussion amongst themselves about whether or not Jesus Christ is the Messiah. And it just reminded me of a conversation that I have quite often in my community groups about, would we recognize Krishna if Krishna came? And this is why it's so important that you treat everybody like they're God, because you just don't know, right? I mean, they couldn't figure it out either. And I have to trust that our holy people will be able to figure it out for us. But that's why it's really so important that we all treat each other like we're God.
Thank you, Bhakti Devi. That reminded me of the Shikshashtakam prayer. Is we offer all respects to others without expecting anything in return. Thank you for speaking in line with the highest of the prayers. Bhakti Devi, thank you. Jamuna Jaya.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, everybody. I was just thinking, as we were describing the beauty of Uddhava, I was just really thinking of what makes someone beautiful. And Uddhava is described so much like being like Krishna, because he is like Krishna. His love for Krishna. We often say that the ornaments that Krishna wears aren't beautiful. Krishna makes the ornaments beautiful. And I was feeling that it's like what is making Uddhava so beautiful is his love of Krishna and his humility. And so I was just really struck by the beauty that says, it was almost like we're describing Krishna, but really what makes someone beautiful is not the external things at all. It's the love in their heart. And we see that in Uddhava. So I was just really struck by the beauty of that. So, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's not the long arms that make you beautiful. Okay, Bhakti Devi, you have your hand up again. Oh, No, okay.
Nope, sorry, I'll get it down. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. Do we have a speaker? If not, I'll say
I was
something.
I actually want to share what Jumana Jaya just shared. Reminded me of Rukmini Walker Prabhu. She always shares about how the day that she got initiated by Srila Prabhupada, that he said that she said that he gave her like a pill inside a sweet thing, in the sense of saying, like, you know, you're a beautiful girl. So she was always like, yeah, he set me up. He's like getting me all happy and everything. And then she was like, and then, you know, just like a beautiful girl, you know, you want to be like beautiful on the outside, but I want you to work on being beautiful on the inside. And again, I'm paraphrasing. The way that he said it was a lot more beautiful. But yeah, it's just that idea of like that, you know, there are some people who are outwardly very beautiful and very attractive, but then in the inside, if they have, you know, if they're greedy, if they're, you know, mean, if they're disrespectful, like, we start interacting with them for a couple of minutes, and we immediately just can't even, like, their beauty is no longer beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure a lot of you have had these circumstances. Like, so there was a lot of times when I was working in certain industries where I would come in contact with people that, you know, were models, and, you know, just like people that that just were absolutely gorgeous. But then you start talking to them, and some of them weren't mean, but some of them were just very, like, I don't, shallow. Like, all they wanted to talk about was like pretty clothes, and, you know, how much money they made, and, you know, just things like that. And after a while, you just didn't find yourself wanting to be in their presence, because it just wasn't nourishing. Instead, you can have a really humble devotee of Krishna who maybe has, you know, crooked teeth, and, you
Big
know, like,
nose.
exactly, like, whatever it is, like all these kind of things that in regular life people are like, oh, that's not attractive. But then they're so enthusiastic about talking about Krishna. They're so about, you know, like sharing about Krishna Katha, or they're just so humble and so kind that you look for them at the temple and you want to go and talk to them and spend time with them, because that inner beauty, as Jamuna Jai was saying, is just so much more important. So thank you, Jamuna Jai. That really inspired.
Thank you, Damodar Priya. And it's not just internal beauty; it also plays out externally in devotees. You can see devotees age so well. Devotees look cute. They are glowing. They're glowing. You can immediately tell, and you're attracted and you're pulled towards them because of that beauty that even shines on the outside. One time, there was a Ratha Yatra parade that went out of hand, and the police, I think it was in London or something, they were trying to kind of calm the devotees down, and they wanted to take out the leader. So I think they approached Prabhupada, and Prabhupada completely ignored them and just moved on, and they couldn't do anything. And then the police was instructed to take out the devotees out of the crowd, because the common people were also dancing. And then the officers was like, but how do we spot a devotee? And the lieutenant told them, they're glowing. You'll see them. They're glowing. You can tell this is a devotee. So whoever is glowing, you take them out. So the devotees are glowing. Even externally, you can tell, this is a devotee. It's just a pious look on their face, glowing, peacefulness emanating from them. You can immediately tell in the subway when somebody stops for Harinam, who happens to be a devotee. You can immediately tell, this is a devotee. This is a devotee. Look at his face. And the devotion also brings out the best, even in common people, when they come in contact with devotional service. They may be shallow on the outside, but when they come into contact with devotional service by Srila Prabhupada's grace and through our humble effort to give them access to it, you are no longer dealing with the shallow aspect of their personality. They are showing their true self, their true depth. Even the shallowest person, if you open them up, by maybe listening to them or giving them access to devotional service in some way, shape, or form, then you can see how deep they really are, and how they are longing for Krishna, for depth and intimacy. Speaking on the internal beauty shining on the outside. Bhima Prabhu, yeah, you have your hand up.
Yes, Haribol Prabhu. Can I be heard? I'm in a
Yeah,
smoking
you
zone
can
here.
be
Okay.
heard, but you cannot be seen.
That's best because I don't have that external beauty. Best that I remain hidden behind an icon. I came late to class. Sorry about that. Did Adi tell the story about the models that came to do food distribution and the handler or whatever the person was, the manager of the model? Did he tell that story?
No.
Ask Adi to tell the story of when there were models that came to help. It was during Fashion Week, and somehow these models showed up to do the food serve out, and then the the agent who was in charge of these models, said something to Adi. Let Adi relate this story. Very enlightening.
Thank you for the lead, Adi Purusha Prabhu. Do you know what he's talking about? Yeah, can you tell the story? Can you tell it dramatically? Unmute yourself. Unmute. Let me ask you to unmute yourself. Let's see if it pops up. Okay, we can hear you.
Yeah, we had a program called Beauty Is as Beauty Does. And he was saying that these girls, they have makeup and jewelry and wonderful clothes and hair styling. He said, but I'm working with them and I see they're envious of each other. They're jealous. They're catty and they're backbiting and they're very ugly qualities because of their pride and their, competitiveness. Because they're competing with each other to get these modeling jobs. He said, but when they came out there and they were doing service to Krishna and they were caring for other people by giving prasadam, he said their beauty was enhanced. He said, it was amazing. He said, I know these girls and I saw them. The miracle of devotional service, it brings out the best in us. So that's kind of interesting. Beauty is as beauty does. It's not just the amount of makeup or jewelry or expensive clothing or hair spray, but the consciousness behind serving Krishna. That's our true nature, and everyone has that beauty. Just like every piece of wood has the potential to be fire under the right circumstances. I was thinking about this story about how Krishna sent Uddhava, and Uddhava arrived as a guest, and they received him. And how Krishna sends us people in our life, one after the other, because Krishna's concerned for us. And it says, the guru, the visitor, the guest in your house is your guru. That we have something to learn from everyone. And the fire comes out of the wood under circumstances of heat, And so a wise man, Chanaka Pandit says, will accept good advice. Will accept a good wife even from a bad family. Will accept gold even from a dirty place. And will accept good advice even from a madman, even from a child. So if we have that willingness, Scripture says, Savasha Chaham Mridisani Visto Matas Mitiganam Apodanam Cha. Krishna is in everyone's heart, and if we want knowledge, he will give someone, send people to help us to learn and grow. How wonderful is Krishna.
Thank you, Adi Purusha Prabhu. Bhima Prabhu, we can see you now. Is your hand up from the previous time? Or you want to say something?
No. I'm sure everybody has something to say. I just I came late, so I really have to find out what the mood is before I
The
start
mood is very simple.
wagging my
We're here to
tongue.
serve. Service mood. It's always the mood. I wanted to make to say something in glorification of the gopis. When they saw Uddhava, their mind wasn't uh, negative. They became happy. Oh, Krishna sent a messenger. They didn't go, oh, it's not Krishna, this is fake, he's trying to look like Krishna, but it's not Krishna. What is this? Counterfeit Krishna. They didn't go like that. They were positive. Oh, Krishna sent a messenger. This person looks like Krishna. So it's like half full glass of water type of mentality. We always try to see Krishna, even when it's not exactly Krishna, but a messenger. We still, like gopis, we try to see Krishna's hand in it. Jamuna Jaya?
Hare Krishna, thank you for saying that. And that was the other thing I was thinking of. It's to see everything as Krishna's messenger. And Uddhava is a very beautiful messenger to the gopis. And I think this has already been said, but it's always a reminder that everything is Krishna's messenger, and that we should always, as they are welcoming Uddhava, we should always welcome Krishna's messenger. And they may look very different, and it may be challenging circumstances and people that don't look or sound, but to when we understand that everything is indeed Krishna is sending for us to bring us back home. And just thinking about that, what you just said, that let us welcome the messengers in, because Krishna isn't cruel. He isn't cruel. He's sending every message to bring us only ultimately home. So in that way, every messenger in a way is beautiful, and they may not be extremely beautiful like Uddhava. But yeah, and the other point I put in the chat, it's like with the beauty thing, there was a girl, Audrey, and maybe Bhakti Devi remembers her. She was in our community groups. She was a model, and I never thought that she was. She said she worked in industry, but this is my bias, because I was so taken with. She came in sweatpants and everything like anybody else. And then when I found out she was a model, she was like, oh, I was like, oh wow. And she goes, yeah, I'm not owned by it like a lot of the other girls. And that's what actually made her more beautiful. But Krishna, we tend to be owned by any little opulence, and Krishna has all the opulences, but he's not owned by his beauty. So that was the other thing I was thinking. But really, every messenger is from Krishna, and how can we accept that and know that no matter what the message is, it's from Krishna and for our betterment and our good.
Thank you, Jamuna Jaya. Wonderfully said. Bhima Prabhu?
Yeah, I'm reminded. My wife, she many years ago for college, she spent a couple of years in India in Mother Teresa's orphanage, working as an international worker with the orphan children, babies. A lot of them had AIDS. A lot of them were basically just getting ready to die before they were 2 years old, et cetera, et cetera. And she worked with Mother Teresa's nuns, a lot of them being Indian. And she was a photographer at that time, and she took many photographs. And I have to tell you that there is no beauty like the beauty of these people, the babies, the children of the street, the look in their eyes. It reaches out to you. We think of beauty as attractiveness, but what beauty truly is a reflection of Krishna. It's always a reflection of Krishna. It's that a person has been is what does by virtue of a detachment from the world, because the world is basically going away, especially for these children. They become transparent. Their eyes are already it's transparent, a prism straight to Krishna, because they're not holding on to this world. They are not being selfish. They are simply, who they are. And the nuns, the pictures that that Paula, my wife, took of the nuns, the smiles on their faces, the light in their eyes, in their simple habits, that Mother Teresa habit, which was just white, which was a sari, but it was just a white sari with a blue stripe. And because they're around the house and here and there, I always look and I just say, this is real beauty. This is stirring beauty from the inside out. And we see it in the devotees, in the purity. We do see that glow. There's no doubt about it. That it, like what you said, Ananda Bihari, that even on the subway, I mean, we do look for the beads on the neck or something like that, but ultimately you can tell there's a certain effulgence there. And of course, that has to do with our ability to see that. But I would say that I watched a documentary the other day given to me by Adi called Mama Heidi. And she's a Christian missionary.
Mama Adi?
Mama Adi. True. Mama Heidi. Heidi. You can see it on YouTube. And she's a Christian missionary, so you're going to hear a bit of the Christian bent or conception of missionary works, but the movie itself is very stirring as to what is that do unto others as you would have to do unto love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul, and thy neighbor as thyself. She goes to Mozambique to take care of the worst of the worst of orphanages that the government and the NGOs and the major charities can't handle, because it's just so run down. The crime is the violence is so rampant. It's during a civil war at the time with the communists and the rebels, and Americans were being shot. And she decided that she was just going to have full faith in God, and she was going to go there and rescue children. And she started off with 5, and then to 25, and then to 350, and now some decade later, she has over 1,000 orphanages throughout the world, taking care of the most destitute of situations, children who are dying of AIDS, babies, children from the street who work in the dumps, etc., and giving them homes, getting them education, etc., etc. And we might see this as altruistic or philanthropy, and we're transcendental from this, and this is karma and all that. And I just feel like when we're talking about beauty and we're talking about the message that Krishna wants to give us, we have this responsibility, and I'm feeling this responsibility after seeing this documentary, that we should, and as Adi does, to reach out and to those who are Patita Pavana, who are so-called the most fallen, with what the world views as the least potential, and offer them, what, as Prabhupada did, we offer prasad, we offer shelter, we offer them a home in our heart, and we offer them hope and faith. And I think that when we speak of beauty, these are the characteristics of devotees, that when we offer the holy name, we also offer ourselves in service. And I'll end this here, I don't mean to ramble on. I was just I watched it for a second time last night. I watched the whole thing for a second time to see if the inspiration was still there. Mama Heidi said something that was very, very stirring in regards to what we can do. And she says, the good Lord may not ask you to take care of 1,000 children. He may not ask you to take care of 5, but you can always love the one. Love the one who's in front of you. You're always being given, as we as devotees are always being given the chance to give our full attention and our full attention and heart to whoever is in front of us, whoever Krishna, and we must understand that, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's consent. And so obviously he gives us many times a day where someone will be in front of us, and it may be a testing situation, or it may be just a situation where we are having to work with them, or it might be a stranger. But we are always given this chance at that moment to love the one who's in front of us. And by doing that, we are, as Adi always says, that one candle can light thousands of candles. So I'm sorry for rambling on, but I just thought, since we're talking on beauty, we need to talk about how deep beauty really goes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
I have a
Bhima Prabhu.
question, Bhima Prabhu. Is there anywhere online where your wife's photographs are available for us to see?
Oh no, they're just black and whites, because this was some 30, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, yeah, right. She was in her 20s when she was over there, and they were just black and whites, and she just got them, a couple on the walls and stuff like that. You can actually, if you just go online and look up Sisters of Charity or Mother Teresa's orphanages and stuff like that, there's many people who have taken pictures of the nuns at work, etc., etc. We can be heartened, and also I just feel like that it seems to be a good direction. I think Mama Heidi says, yeah, we can take these kids and sit down and say, let's pray this prayer, or we can read to them from the Bible. But Christ said we need to feed and clothe and take care of these children first, these people first, and then we can pray with them. We tend to skip over that part. Even Prabhupada said, a poor man, you feed him first. That's why we have prasadam distribution. You feed him first. You enter his heart through the mercy, Krishna's mercy first. So, anyways, I'm rambling on here, but I just felt very inspired by this documentary that I saw last night. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. That was a very nice and inspiring intervention. I am inspired to go out there and treat everybody I meet in the best possible way, with kindness. Somebody has shown kindness to me, and when I needed that. And that's what inspires us to go and show kindness to others proactively. Because we have experience of that, being the recipient of kindness. So we should return the favor and pass it on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and the movement. We should go out there and give people access to philosophy, prasadam, of course, devotional service. And when we need some encouragement, we shouldn't be shy, and we should reach out to the devotees. They will back us up, 100% guaranteed.
All this reminds me of the pastime that actually was Adi Purusha Prabhu's pastime with Srila Prabhupada, right? When he was the security, kind of like guard for Prabhupada when he was in Vrindavan, remember that?
Yeah. He told me I was walking
Would he
around.
ever want to tell us? Yeah.
He
I
said
would love
I
to
was
hear it
walking
directly
around.
from him.
Yeah, he told me I was walking around the house where Srila Prabhupada was translating, and I had my shotgun, and I was ready to shoot anyone right in the face if they tried to mess with Prabhupada. Yes, I did. We remember that. Okay. Yeah,
Well, that's not the part of the pastime that I was thinking of.
I know. Yeah, he skips that part deliberately, but I wanted to bring this up.
I never said that. You made that up.
Okay, I made that up. No, I've heard you tell that story 10 times at least, and it's always all kinds of details come to surface. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada told Adi Purusha Prabhu to go where and do what? Tell us, Adi.
Oh, I asked him how I can serve him. He came down. It was in the middle of the night. I was standing guard outside the house, And he came down through the garage, and I said, Prabhupada, how can I serve you? And he said, you can go where I won't go. And Prabhupada had just come from Tokyo to Los Angeles to San Francisco to Dallas to Chicago to New Orleans to New York to Pittsburgh, and he was going back to New York and to London and to India. It was 1974. So he was going all over the place. Meanwhile, I had hitchhiked in Vrindavan, and I'd been there a few months. I had no ID, I had no money. I didn't even have two boots that matched. I had a red boot and a black boot. And he said, you can go where I won't go. And I was surprised. I said, Prabhupada, where won't you go? He said, to the future. I was thinking, he wants me to go to the future? He wants me to build a time machine? What does he want me to do? To the future. And how you treat the people there, you show them how Krishna loves them. And I just closed my eyes like this. What? And when I opened my eyes, he had already gone back upstairs. He just said that and left. But it's an instruction for all of us. We go where Prabhupada won't go and show people how Krishna loves them.
Yeah,
That's,
wherever you go, take Srila Prabhupada with you.
huh?
Wherever you go, bring Srila Prabhupada with you in your consciousness. Read the Bhagavatam, repeat, apply
Give
in
them
this way.
prashad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of these immigrants from all over the
What's that?
world, a lot of immigrants pouring across the southern border, and they're starting to come out for prashad distribution. And imagine somebody leaving their country and coming with just the clothes on, and they're coming there, and when we give them prashad, I can hear their voices. They say, thank you, thank you. They really say it from the heart. They're very grateful to give prashad. Really beautiful. Yeah, I say, Krishna loves you.
Thank you, Damodar Priya Prabhu. It's darshan time. Yeah, darshan's coming. One time, I will share a quick story from Rasanath Prabhu. He was an investment banker back in the day, and he was getting promoted, or he was offered a promotion, and the promotion required him to move somewhere upstate or something. Where?
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Harrisburg. Yeah, and he didn't want to move because he wanted to serve at the Bhakti Center on Radhnath Maharaj's request. And he presented his difficulty to Radhnath Maharaj. He said, I have my career on one hand, and on the other hand, I have this project here. And they're telling me that I should move. And Radhnath Swami told him, Rasanath Prabhu, if you are truly renounced, truly surrendered, no one can tell you what to do. That's all he told him. Do you know if, Adipusha Prabhu, do you know if Rasanath moved? I think he didn't move.
He came back to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we're truly surrendered to Krishna and renounced from the fruit of our labor, then no one can tell us what to do.
No one can force you.
Yeah. No one can force you. Yeah. Yeah. No one can force us. Krishna can override any karmic boss. I was once invited to a party, and I said no. I'll tell that story sometime later. No problem. Hare Krishna. Darshan, cameras on if you can. We're not forcing you. No one can force you to turn
Radha Mohan ki, Gautam Bhagwan ki. Pandar Oti Kamaniya Vishesha Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Anjani Yasya Chakuren Priyavrimamti Tasyan Ipayanti Anada Himaya Sadhu Vala Vigrahatya Govinda Hari Govinda Puri Hare Krishna.
Shri Shri Radha Murlidhara ki jai. Shri Guru Chandra ki jai. Shri Amita Kishori Didi ki jai. Everybody on this call ki jai. Thank you very much. You are beautiful. And we can see Srila Prabhupada's mercy in you. That's how Srila Prabhupada's mercy is playing out in our life. Through you, dear devotees. Thank you. Okay. We're wishing you a wonderful day, wonderful Monday. Be kind on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. Be kind. Okay. Hare Krishna. See you again tomorrow. It's another day in Lord Chaitanya's movement. Srimad Bhagavatam never ends. Kirtan never stops. Bhima Prabhu never mutes himself. Always stay in glorification of Krishna. Yeah, you wanted to give us some final instructions for today?
I was just going to say that when I was listening to the Govindam prayers, that we do have a great beauty to share with everyone, and that is, of course, requires some tact and aesthetic patience. But we have such a treasure, such a beautiful treasure in the Leela and the stories that we can share eventually with people. The philosophy itself is very beautiful. I remember hearing the first verse I ever heard from the Bhagavad Gita was, "Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall we ever cease to be." That took a great weight off of my heart at the time, because, you know, in college you go through this existential crisis where you actually can realize for the first time in your life that you're not going to live forever, and that the world doesn't make sense because it's so temporary. And when I heard that, I was a spirit soul, and that I am, someone who will be around forever and has been around forever. it was just this great weight, like the world came off my shoulders. And this is a beautiful feeling to be liberated, even at a neophyte stage, liberated from the fear of nothingness, of the absurdity of life, and actually coming to understand through Krishna consciousness, through my association with Radhanath Swami, that the future for us is very, very beautiful, that we have a very beautiful Lord. And as Mama Heidi said when she prayed and Christ answered her, she was, during the prayer, she said she had a vision. She was looking into Christ's eyes, and she said Christ was his eyes were so very beautiful. And I think this can be said, of course, about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, etc. When they look at you, when you can see straight in, she said it was like liquid love. It was liquid love that was pouring out of Christ's eyes, out of God's eyes, and that she became, and this is the note that I will always remember, she became absolutely wrecked. She was wrecked upon the shore of God's eyes. So we talk about beauty, but there's no beauty like Krishna's glance upon us, and we have that to look forward to, and for us to strive for that sidelong glance of mercy. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Kaviraj. Thank you. Wonderful. You're very poetic. Okay, have a wonderful day. See you again tomorrow.